Hello, hello! It's our final day of our January release videos, and today I bring you Ladybug Swissie, and she is part of our bug series of Swissies. We also have a butterfly and a bee, and wouldn't it be so cute to do a card with all three of them on it? Ooh, I might have to do that in the future and do a video of it. So I went ahead and I'm using my Misty to stamp her on Copic paper, and I used Memento Tuxedo Black to stamp her. I like the Mementos best to use with the Copic markers. I've never had a problem with them bleeding, and they always give a really good crisp stamp when you're stamping with them. And then I did the sentiment. I've caught the love bug in Memento Ladybug Red, but you could use any red ink for this that you might have on hand. And then I wanted, since the card's going to be very simple, it's just her with a little background and the sentiment, I wanted to give it a finished look. So I took a black pen I had, and I just kind of drag it along, skipping in spots to kind of give it, so it's not just a square around it, kind of gives it a little more of a look to it. And then the spots that I skipped that had gaps, I add little dashes and dots in there just to give it a little more finished look to it. And then we're going to get to coloring the image. So I figured out how to get my camera just in the right angle so that you can see the cap with the name of the color I'm using on the image. So I'm using my go-to skin color, which is EO4, EO2, EOO, EOOO, and EOOOO. So I always start with the EOOOO to get a base down on my paper. I find that when I do that, I have an easier time blending all the other colors. And then I start with my darkest color, which is the EO4, and I add just a little around the edges where I think shadows would fall. And then I go down from there, blending out, and always if the EO4 does not blend enough or it looks too sharp of a color change, always go back with the EO2 and work your way back down. And then I went ahead and I'm going to start with my reds. And I used R35, R37, and R59 to color in her hat, her hair, her little wings, and her pants. And actually, I wish I had grabbed probably the C4, the Cool 4, or the Neutral 4 to add some of the shading on the red parts. I find that the Copic markers do not get a good enough shading. There's not a dark enough red that I have personally found that I like to really give you that red shaded areas. So I'm just going to go through and color my reds, and I use the R59, and I only outline half of the spots on her because I want to make them kind of look like they're raised up a little bit. And then I did the tips of her hair and like the bottom of the bow and her pants and whatnot. And so I'm going to go ahead and work through the red to get it all done up. And this is a good combo to use for, say, at Christmas time. I know we're past Christmas now, but this would be a good set for Santa, his pants and stuff, or any kind of red you're looking to do, maybe even a poinsettia. That would be a good color. So I left some spots. You can see on her pants how there's kind of, the lighter down the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on the antennas and the little spots and her shoes. And so for this, I'm using my neutral grays. So I started off with N5, and then I'm going to bring in some N7, and then I'll finish with some N9. Out of all the Copic colors, the blacks I find are the hardest for me to blend with and use because if you do a little too much, it's just one big black blob. And if you don't use enough, then it's a little too gray. So for her, I kind of kept the N9 just in a little bit of spots to kind of give it, just a little darkness, but then also a little highlight. And then I came back with my N5 to kind of blend it out a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and give her little shoes, dark red bows. Okay, so on the clothing, I like to use warm colors when I'm doing the clothing. So I use W1 and W2 to, because for me, white clothes kind of cast off a warmer gray color than they would a neutral gray color. And then when I was thinking about how I was going to use her on a card, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be so cute if she was like out in a field or something? So I'm using some YGs to create the grassy little area. And then I'm going to come in and just flick up some grass pieces. And if I do this again, don't think that I would do the strips of green. I think I would try just to do flicks of grass everywhere because I think that would look a little bit better than just the solid strips of green in there. So I used YG9, the YG9 series, and then I used some YG6 series in there just to give it some different green colors in there. And then I used YR23 to add some little yellow flowers in the field around her, and a YG99 to add the stems of the flowers. And then I used my white liner pen and added all the highlights to her, and I added the little centers to the flowers. And now we're all done with her, and we're going to go ahead and get her on a card. Since she is the main focus, I wanted the card to just be simple, so I cut out a piece of red and black cardstock that is 1/8 of an inch bigger than the white and the red, and I attached them to it. And I wanted to thank you for joining me these last 6 days. Our release will be available on Friday, January 8th at noon Central Standard Time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you later. Bye-bye!